Hi, welcome back to the Jack and Glenn channel. I'm Jackie.
And I'm her husband, Glenn.
He's my husband, Glenn.
Hey, before we get started on this Married at First Sight, season 11, episode 9, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification. Make sure you check out our couple cam review. Also, if you enjoy reading books or listening to books on your drive to work, from work, check out our Audible link in the description below and get yourself a free 30-day trial of Audible. Yep.
What if they're not driving to work? On the way to the grocery store.
On the way to the grocery store, on the way to the gym, while you're working out, whatever you need to do. You like reading books or listening to books, make sure you hit the description, hit the link in the description, and check it out. Okay.
Where are we starting? Christina and Henry.
Let's start at Christina and Henry.
Okay, so we open the episode as far as Christina and Henry. We hear Henry calling Christina, and my husband made note that his phone, he has her saved to his phone as Christina, MAFS.
Hilarious.
It must be another Christina in his phone.
It must be another Christina, but I'm just mad he don't have a last name. He just got Christina, not wifey, not nothing, just Christina, Married at First Sight, MAFS. That's what
right. So he's calling her, and she doesn't answer, so he leaves a message.
He leaves a message, and I'm thinking maybe this a week later, maybe she's on a flight, maybe she's working. But we come to find out that she's out with her friends, hanging out, drinking, and
still kind of marinating from the little tiff they had, which they call it a tiff, and
yeah.
He's thinking, she probably still mad at me, but yeah, she's been out hanging with her friends and drinking, and she walks in like, hey,
yeah,
what you been doing?
What you been doing all day? Like nothing, just chilling. In Henry fashion, just chilling. And then she proceeds to say, I got something to tell you. I don't know how to say this. I don't know what to say. Now my mind is running. Because I listed like 15 different things that she was going to say. And none of them was correct. None of them was correct. And I know just like you probably thought 15 different things too. And then they take a commercial break and then you sit in there thinking like maybe it's this, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But anyway, we come back and she tell Henry that she has not been taking her medication.
Her ADD medication.
Her ADD medication.
Yes.
And that's why she's been, a little easily frustrated over the last couple of days and months, the last couple of months, because she said she hadn't taken it in a month and a half. Right,
and she was kind of, she had some trepidation about talking to him about it. She expressed because, sometimes there's a stigma with this kind of stuff, where she's alluding to like mental illness, maybe behavioral issues or whatever. So she didn't want to say anything to him, but yeah, she hasn't taken her meds in a month and a half, which, I'm a nurse. My husband's worked with kids with behavior problems, mental health field. And if you know anything about ADHD.
Or ADD.
ADD. You got impulsivity. It is a lack of patience there. So frustrations. So it was obvious. Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah, something's going on. But it's also her attitude too. She goes and talks about her mom doesn't like medication, is not a big proponent of medication.
Right.
That her mom was like, you don't need it. And there's some people who are not big proponents of medication. There's some parts of ADD and ADHD and all those that you can deal with without medication. And some people need medication. It's the person. So I'm not pitching either way here. It's just whichever way works for you. And Henry kind of sold her that. Whichever way makes you flow and makes you feel better. Whether it's the medication piece or we can work on it together. And one thing I liked about this in there, that Henry was a listener. His friend said that in the last episode, that he helps her out. Now, we don't know what kind of work Henry does in the healthcare field. He might work with mental health patients. And what's funny is, not funny, everybody thought Henry was the one that was on the spectrum and had the issue or had the problem. And not saying he don't know.
Okay, I was going to say.
We don't know. But yet we find out Christina also has a mental health challenge, an issue. And that's probably, you look at it, that's maybe why they put them together to help each other out with this issue. And maybe they knew. Still doesn't make an excuse to be rude. Because, I've always said medicine is, even though you take medicine for certain issues or certain things, you still make a choice. And she, in this case, she made the choice to be rude or not to be impatient. I know it's impulsivity, And so sometimes you're not thinking as much as you should with that. But even her ADD, I like the fact that she trusted Henry with it.
And he did too.
And he did too. And even though it took her longer than Miles, because Miles talked about his clinical depression earlier with Karen in the relationship. And I know she had some trepidation behind that. But just imagine if she would have talked to Henry earlier about what was going on, some of the issues that they had, some of the things that they were going through. It
would have made more sense to him, and he probably would have been more understanding.
And they wouldn't have to go through a lot of those issues. And I just go to any relationship. If there's a problem in a relationship, bring it forth early. Instead of lingering on to it, holding on to it, it just makes it that much easier for husband and wife and those to get over that issue or that situation because it's brought to the table earlier. They wasted 2 weeks. In my opinion, she wasted 2 weeks of a relationship and some fights where she didn't share.
Right. And I really do think the conversation with Henry's friend kind of encouraged her to bring that out. Maybe even while she was out with her friends.
Yeah.
You know, she might have talked about it. She had obviously already shared with the other wives, you know, about their little disagreement or whatever. But yeah, so, you know, he was really kind and patient about it.
Yeah.
And, you know, he encouraged her, like you said, whichever way you want to go with it, I'm here to support you. You know, it's nothing to be ashamed of, which I shared with my husband. I was like, you know, I get everybody thinks about it different, but to me, ADD and ADHD are so common. I guess I was kind of, but then again, he is a stranger, so that makes you kind of leery about sharing things with people. But I think ADD and ADHD is a more common thing, and you run into it, and it's got less of a stigma with it as opposed to some of the other things. You know, if she has said, well, I'm schizophrenic, I'm paranoid schizophrenic, you know, or I'm bipolar, you know, you see more, I don't want to say issues. You see people more like with some of those, and I hate to do big or small, but you know, the more serious mental illness. So, but I can understand you. Like, you know, they're strangers, and it's hard to let somebody into your world like that. But I'm glad she did.
Yeah, not even strangers. You got millions of strangers.
That too.
You got millions of people who are watching you and who's talking about you, and like we're doing right now about the 88, you know, your situation or your mental health. So, you know, and that deals with a lot of people. Interested to see how, you know, we know that they're part of the coronavirus with this episode. Interested to see how our ADD works during the midst of the coronavirus and when them having to be inside and be together all the time.
Right. And then later we see Christina and Henry, all the couples, they get a envelope with some questions. So their questions are talking about how do you know when you're in love? Have you been in love before? And they have a nice conversation. And she says, you know, I've been in love before. I feel like I was there with my ex. But she also shared, again, she's in a sharing mood. She shared with Henry too that, you know, she's been in relationships that weren't the best relationships. She noticed that sometimes she's the common denominator. And when the relationship goes downhill, whether it's her behavior, her attitude, or whatever, and he was like, you know, real reassuring, and she's saying, you know, I'm feeling a little bit better with where we're going. And she says, I'm starting to see why we're matched, because you can balance that part of me. Yeah. And I think she's already doing a little bit better as far as her ADD, just based on that conversation.
Well, she's being more vulnerable. She's letting the walls down. And she's putting him in, and we see throughout this episode, she's putting him in a space where he's kind of in charge, without trying to forcing him to be in charge. Mm-hmm. She's putting him in places where he's comfortable for doing. He's comfortable with helping. He's comfortable with listening. He's comfortable with being a caring person with the listening ear and being able to help. He's a solver, so he likes to solve. So now he finds value, or he finds a need in this relationship. Before he didn't find a need in the relationship. Mm-hmm. Now he sees, you know what, I can be her whatever. In this relationship, I can be the listening ear for her. I can be the rock for her. And then when she they go golfing again, something he likes to do, something he's comfortable with, right? And something he can talk about. You see Henry take the lead. Mm-hmm. He takes charge, because when they went dancing, he wasn't comfortable. He kind of reverted back to the Henry we saw in previous episodes until he was made confident enough to, you know what, I can do this. So when he's in charge, or when it's something he's comfortable with, or something he knows, he is very, I'm I don't want to use the word masculine because we're going to use that a little bit later when we talk about Miles and Karen. But he is more assuring and more confident in his ability and his skill set.
Yeah. So to see them go golfing, that was good. He was able to teach her and help her through it. And then when they went dancing, that was a space where he was a little less comfortable, but he knew that she would like it, and she was able to bring him out. And she said he was a quick study, just like he said she was a quick study when it came to golfing. He was quick and picked up the stuff with the moves with the dancing, and they had a nice little.
And we saw them actually touch each other.
Yeah, I felt like the golfing. When I saw that scene, it was like, oh, what a nice interaction with them. Yeah. And so with the salsa dancing, I said, oh, another good interaction. You know, it was good to see them in that space.
I still think they got a lot of things to work on.
They do, but it's getting better.
We saw progress, and I think that's what you want to see in each every week watching this show. You want to see them have progress. I'm not one for the drama all the time in shows. I actually really want to see people do well and see the progress. So I think they made progress. Do I think they, at this point, do they think they stay married? Or I don't know. The jury's out. I don't think so. But at least they're making progress in the right direction.
I don't know. I don't know. I think we might be pleasantly surprised with them.
We might be.
They're getting there. But so that is Christina and Henry.
Yeah.
All right. Next, let's do we're gonna do smooth sailing. Amelia and Bennett.
Amelia and Bennett.
All right. So for the opening for them, Amelia lets us know that Bennett hasn't been feeling very well. Yeah. What can I do for you? And he was like, well, I would like some.
He whispers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he whispered because he wasn't feeling good.
He wasn't feeling good.
He acted. Yeah. So what was that? Honey ginger.
Honey ginger tea.
Honey ginger tea, and so she goes out to get him some honey ginger tea.
It's nice living with a medical professional, whether it's a nurse or a doctor. I love the nurse that I stay with. Take care of me.
Maybe a little bit.
Just a little. I don't get sick, so.
I mean, no, not really. No. So anyway, so then later we see Amelia and Bennett, and they're cleaning up in the house and doing some things. And Bennett shares with us that I was down and out, wasn't feeling very good, and she took good care of me, and
she lifted my spirits.
She lifted my spirits, and I just kind of liked the way she cared for me, and we was kind of in each other's face and
in each other's eyes,
and then our hands probably started exploring, and oh yeah, we consummated the marriage, but they had sex. They had sex.
And Amelia didn't like to talk.
In a tender moment.
It didn't like having sex. And the producer asked, like, y'all had sex? He was like, yeah. And she was like, yeah, but I don't like talking about it. So Bennett and Amelia are the next couple to consummate their marriage. Along, we already had Woody and Amani.
Yes.
And we have Ben and Olivia.
And that makes sense. We expected those two couples to do that.
Those two couples.
So then next we see they get their question cards. Amelia and Bennett is how do you know when you're in love? And Amelia's like, it's the feeling of the joy and the romance, compatibility, being connected and intertwined. And and he says, I know I'm in love when there's an ease, when there's passionate, how comfortable we feel about communicating how he feels and
how she looks into my eyes. And how she always laughs at.
Well, no, that goes to when. Okay, do you believe in love at first sight?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I don't know if I believe in love. I don't think that's ever happened to me. He's like, well, it did happen to me one time. This one time.
Who?
And it was this girl I met, and she just did a lot of giggling. She did a lot of giggling when we first met, and obviously, he's talking about her.
she looked in my eyes and she just laughed and giggled at everything I said. And they go back and show clips all the time that she giggled and was happy with being with Bennett.
Did she come to my show before?
Yeah.
I think you were at one of my shows.
You can see that they remind me of Jessica and Austin.
Yeah.
That they love each other. Because Bennett said, I love her, but I'm not in love with her. But I do love her. And I'm trying to get there to be in love with her, but I do love her. So they're haven't said it to each other, but you can tell they love each other.
Right.
And so they wanted to see how that went. And then they went on a little outing. She took Bennett on an outing.
Yeah. Yeah. So before that, apparently one of their friends stayed over. Oh, when they woke up that morning, how did you sleep? Bennett said, I slept well. Yeah. And she said, he said he slept like a baby. She said she slept pretty well. And then we find out she said that because she was up till 2 a.m. with the friend preparing for this picnic.
Yes.
For that she was going to take Bennett on. Mm-hmm. And they made a cake that looked like Bennett. And they're trying to be slick and be a surprise for him, but they left the cake on the counter. And he was like, oh, what's this? Oh, I didn't see it. Oh, no, I didn't see it. I don't know anything that's going on.
I don't know about y'all. I like Bennett. His personality, I can hang out with Bennett all day long and just laugh and just giggle. Bennett's a cool dude, man. He's laid back, no problem. I like Bennett. Bennett's fun.
Yeah. And
he makes a light out of every situation, though.
Yeah, it's really sweet. And he even said that, too. He said, I didn't know how it would feel. I'd have to get used to somebody. He said, but it's been real easy, real normal for us. They just kind of eased into it. Just like Amani and Woody, I think, have. Yeah. Like I said, we won't put them in the same category or whatever. But she takes them on a picnic.
Yeah.
And first they do it's called slacklining.
Slacklining.
So they tied a line. Mm-hmm. To each tree. Yeah,
and they wrapped it in a towel like they was gonna hurt the tree, but I guess that's for the rope won't have to slip.
Right.
So and slacklining, and so slacklining is basically like tightrope walking.
Right.
And it's
a little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger, and so Bennett had a problem. Bennett couldn't balance himself.
No, it took him a while.
It took a while.
Yeah, she said sit on it first and turn your foot like this, and then try to stand up, and he broke his back.
Broke his neck. Yeah, but he finally got it up there though, and she walked him across, and he enjoyed it. And I just don't see. That's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, she was like, would you have broken your back for me? He was like, I think that's a bit too much. I think that's a bit too much. They talked about trading the world. Yeah. I wouldn't trade the world for you. Would think that means or whatever.
But I'll trade my cheese.
Yes, I trade cheese. She said everything except the cheddar. But they had a nice little picnic. They had the surprise cake, had cotton candy on it. Never seen.
And a pinata that Bennett could not hit.
He knocked the wings off eventually.
And then he knocked it down.
And then he knocked it down.
And he beat a hole in the ground.
And I don't ever. But my thing is, even when it fell, I saw no candy. I guess they just put up for a hit and she didn't put anything in it.
She might have put something in it. He just never opened it up. And he could never hit it.
But the top of it came off. When it fell down, it was kind of open.
But it was in the body. She had nothing in the head. Everything was inside the body.
Yeah, but they had a nice little picnic. Bennett shared, I think to be in a good place with us, I think to cherish somebody else. First you have to cherish yourself. Be content with yourself and the world, and then you'll be able to cherish somebody else. So they just had a nice little picnic, being with each other. It was sweet.
They're sweet. They love being in each other's company, and they really enjoy each other. There's no hiccups between them right now. They're smooth sailing.
They just got one hiccup.
And that's her residency. No. What's that?
There's that too. But the other hiccup is that Bennett's running out of dirty socks.
Oh. Yeah.
He only got 2 pair. He only has 2 pair of, apparently, I don't know if these are the same dirty socks he had on at the wedding, but these were some dirty socks, and I'm running out of socks, and I might need to borrow yours. And she says, well, I only have 5 pairs.
Only have 5 pairs.
So between the two of them, they have 7 pairs of socks.
7 pairs of socks. And so somebody can go buy some socks. Walmart sells socks.
He said I might have to go buy some.
Yeah.
He said that.
He can buy socks on Amazon.
He said I'm gonna have to go buy some socks, and they're gonna come up with a chore chart. So they're falling into the groove of living together and sharing socks.
I wonder about the chore chart. The chore chart. Was that to see who washed clothes? Because if you only got 7 pairs of socks, somebody gotta wash.
Gotta wash the socks.
Somebody gotta wash socks. If they're that dirty, that means he has not washed his clothes.
Probably. Well, he definitely has to scrub them. When you get socks that dirty.
Cold bleach.
But you might have to, soak them and scrub them.
Bleach at 145 degrees. Activates.
Yes, sir. I know you know this. He's working in laundry area.
Yeah. So it activates.
All right, so that's it for Amelia and Bennett.
Yeah, and they're dirty socks.
Smooth sailing with the little 7 pairs of socks.
7 pairs of socks.
But I think I have that issue in my house too. Somebody borrows my socks, and I'm not sorry. It's not him. It's not him. somebody borrows my socks and they try to act like they don't know they borrowed them. Like I found something the other day, but
yeah, we're working on that problem.
Yeah. But anyway, so the borrowing socks thing, I'm sure a lot of people do that. All right, next, you want who?
Let's go Olivia and Brett.
Olivia and Brett. Okay.
Olivia and Brett. Mr. Sarcasm himself.
Yes.
Always sarcastic. I'm sorry. Brett may be a cool dude, but when we try to talk serious, please don't be sarcastic.
Well, okay. Yeah. First, let's say we open with them. They try to sleep all night, but about 3, 4 in the morning, their cats
had a fiesta.
They had a fiesta. So that's been their struggle. Disrupting their sleep was the cats.
What does a cat fiesta sound like?
I don't know, but they must have been having a really good time. It disturbed their sleep. But then, okay, first thing really, Olivia and Brett, the couples get the questions. Mm-hmm. And that's what we see with them besides the cats fighting. They want to know about intimacy and, love and how your relationships work or whatever. And like you said, she called it sarcasm, you called it too. I don't really call it it was like he was trying to make a joke of it.
Dry humor?
Yeah, maybe. To me, he was like trying to joke about everything.
Yeah, but she's trying to have a serious moment about love and about respect and what we're gonna try to do and I understand the joke. I make a joke every once in a while. I like making jokes. But there's a time for joking when you try to be serious.
Very, very rare that you make funny ones, but
oh, you laugh.
He's got a lot of dad jokes.
I'm a dad.
So I have to but you don't have to make dad jokes. But anyway, so yeah. But yeah, it's a time to be serious, and it's a time, and like this was the time, which they always do this on Married at First Sight. Give the couples a chance to get to know each other a little bit better and share have some conversations that they might not would have had. Yeah. This kind of conversation, and he was joking like, okay, how will you know when you're in love? Or I think it kind of sneaks up on you, and how will you actively fall in love? And so he says, well, I'm gonna do, that's why I said it's like lame jokes, not sarcasm. I want to do my sexy underwear dance. That's how you're gonna know. Or when I do my jumps on my BMX bike. But do you have a BMX bike? No, but I can get one.
I can get one. And I'm sitting here like, oh dog, you'll spend money on a BMX bike but not spend money to stay in a hotel?
No, that's how you know he's being sarcastic. Because he ain't spending no money. He ain't spending no money. But I don't know. She was just like, come on, let's get to it.
She really wants to be involved, and I think Olivia wants to be involved in the exercise tremendously, and she wants him to be more excited and involved in the exercise as her. And she doesn't see that same excitement that she has coming from him. It's like, he's just going through the motions. And she wants to know, are you here for me? Or are you here for, are you just going through the motions? Are you really here to be married? Or do you think this is what marriage look like?
But his response to her was, obviously, I'm playing with it now. But I like you because I emoji'd you all day. So I think his problem is, and they talk about that later, like Woody, when Amani and Olivia met together, she said that Woody's impression of Brett is he's just so political. It's some things he doesn't want to share. And I'm thinking he's making these jokes on the camera. Well, first of all, he says there's always room for humor.
Right.
So he's trying to lighten it. But I think the other part is he doesn't want to share too much when it comes to that. So he kind of jokes about it. But
I get it. He's a private person. He said it from day one. They wanted to share their intimacy and keep it between them. There's some things, even when we saw this friend a couple weeks last week about Pascal, he tried to start drama. We're not here for the drama. There's some things, and she said it, he wants to keep some things private just among them. But see, this is where I have a problem with this, with people on the show. You're on a TV show. Mm-hmm. You're on a reality show. They follow you 24/7. They're going to be production. There's some things that you're going to have to open up about on the show. There's some things that they're going to see and people are going to hear, and they're going to come out. because it's reality TV. So just go ahead. Oh, it's not like he murdered anybody, but it's just something in that sense of, okay, yeah, I'm not saying that you have to tell the world that you guys had sex on your first night. That's none of our, but there's some issues that you may have to deal with on television. And the issue is here, do you love her? Do you want to be with her? He said he likes her. They have some issues, and we know that some of the issues have been big about money, which every episode money has come up with them too. So he has to be able to kind of let it down. He's not on a same level as Brandon or AJ, but he still has to work within the camera and the confines of the show.
Yeah. And so she shared with him too, as far as them getting to the place where they can be in love. I think if we when you see somebody when they're passionate about something, you kind of enjoy seeing them be passionate. It kind of helps you see them in a different light, and you see the things they like and the things you like, and then you'll have the things that we like together.
And then you work on the small things first.
Yeah, and instead of getting caught up in the big things. And he was like, well, that's not the best advice, best piece of advice I've ever heard. That doesn't sound like any piece of advice.
Because he wants to start on the big things. And he feels that the big things will take care of the small things.
And it's the big things that keep you together in the long run.
And the big things keep you together in the long run. In which I can see his point. But if I'm working on the small things that deal with me, and you're working on small things dealing with you, and now we come together, we can create our own big things. Or we could create our own stuff together. Because guess what? We mentioned it. I have some issues before we got together. You have some issues before we got together. This is an accelerated process. So we both have issues and problems. So now let's try to work on our stuff here and bring it. And maybe you can help me work on mine. Maybe you can't. But at least we know what they are and lay it on the table.
Or not even
issues, but
that's what I was about to say. Yeah, I was going to say not even necessarily the small issues, but if we work on the small things between us, like say being considerate of one another, then we can grow that to a point. Finding out, like she said, finding out what each other likes and what they dislike, and if we focus on that, then we can get to the big things, the long term.
But she did that with the date they went on, because she organized the date, and I'm sitting here thinking, please don't bring it on when I guess she paid for it too. She paid for the date when they went on to the
Cajun Pride tour.
Yeah, Cajun Pride tour
on a swamp boat.
On a swamp boat, where there was a crock in the water.
Yeah.
But he seemed like try to drive first, but he opened up when things started to move with this boat tour and started to have more I want to call it relational intimacy with her doing something that she likes, that she wanted to do, that he kind of enjoyed. And that's what I think Olivia wants. She just wants somebody to enjoy being with.
Right.
And that she wants
doing
things with. She's tired of doing things by herself. And so we saw it in the last episode. She don't want. I can come home and sit home and watch TV and play with my cats myself. I want to be out of the house doing things with someone of the opposite sex that I love, with a husband. And so this to her was fun and was happy. I'm glad that he finally got into it.
Yeah, because
it took a moment
before they played with held the little baby alligator on the swamp boat. And he was like, oh wow, there's another lethargic gator. There's another lethargic gator.
Well, it sounds like him though, because he's lethargic.
Sometimes, yeah.
He's lethargic. He's like, okay. But, so they enjoyed that moment together, and they still got some ways to go.
Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, he did open up some. Hopefully they can have, but I feel like they obviously can have serious conversations, because some of these things they touched on before. I'm just thinking maybe he doesn't want to have it on the camera. He's trying to be like Amani said. What he says, he's trying to be political, do the right things, say the right things
on TV. He knows what it is after the show's over.
Yeah, but it's reality TV. You might as well just like, you can't be no more of a butthole or a glowing picture of a husband than somebody else that might have been on these other seasons. Because some of these other guys.
And you don't want to come off looking like a prick neither, but he comes off sometimes looking like a prick.
Yeah.
So,
and I hope nobody's offended because I said butthole, or prick.
Or prick. Yeah.
Hope y'all are alright. We still saved. Okay. Alright, Amani and Woody.
Amani and Woody.
All right. Let's see. We open with Amani and Woody.
My main man, Woody. I like Woody.
Man.
Woody smooth.
He said, I want to take care of my lady.
Take care of my lady.
And so she gets her nails done. And, you know, I like to take care of myself. So I want to make sure my lady's good. So they went for a mani-pedi together.
Mani-pedi together. And she like, Woody, do you do this all the time? He like, yep.
Yeah.
She like, how often? She like, I go every 2 weeks. She like, I do my own hair. And I do my hair myself, so manis and pedis are what I like to do.
That's my treat, yeah.
That's my treat. And he's like, okay. She like, you know, I've had these braids in for a long time, and I think about doing my hair. Take my hair
I'm getting ready to take braids out.
That's
and
right.
So since you want me to communicate with you about the braids, so I want you to know I'm going to take my hair out. And she says, I think I'm going to cut it bald.
You like what? I'm like what?
He like... You know, she's joking. See, this is a different kind of joke. That's what I'm saying. Unlike what Brett would do. It's like kind of joking, but like at an inappropriate time. Like this completely fit, you know. She says, I'm going to cut my hair bald since you want me to talk to you about it.
Remind me of somebody else. That joke really reminds me of something that you would do.
I thought I would tell you about this. But Woody says, well, I kind of like women with longer hair. He was like, why do you like women with longer hair? He said,
something to hold on to. You know what I'm talking about?
Woody is borderline nasty.
Woody was like something to hold on to, dog.
And so she says, you know what? My husband is crazy. But I like it. She said, but I like it.
But she like it though. When I like them. They communicate well together. They interact and they have fun together. And I like the fact that the communication is always on a good level. And she, you know, when it comes to them, Woody talking about, they did an exercise about loving their exercise, and you know they're sitting there coloring, and Woody like, I love my wife. I love my wife. And Amani had she had a different answer for Woody, and not one that he expected.
Right. She says, I can't say I'm in love. I definitely like my husband, and I'm growing towards being in love with him. I can't say I'm in love now though.
But that's all you want. You want growth.
Right.
I mean, you want growth. I mean, and this was a normal relationship. You would want somebody to grow and to love you. Since this is a accelerated process and they're on married first sight, she's not going to love you after 2 weeks or 3 days or 3 weeks or whatever. It's a growth process. Now, if she would have said, you know what, I don't know. But she said, I'm growing to love you, which means there's still things that I'm like being around you. I like talking to you. I like missing you. And she said it when she was talking to Olivia. I mean, I like seeing my husband come home.
Right.
I like seeing him be there, or when we're not there, I miss him. And so therefore you build a relationship, whether she texts him or we can text each other throughout the day, whether you can have the conversation at night. And what I've learned watching this show is what you do off camera really counts.
Yeah.
What you do off camera really counts. If you're doing these things off camera, and not just for the camera, it really makes a big difference in the relationships. We've seen people who've done things just for the camera. And the relationships didn't last. When they're doing things off the camera and they spending time and working out and doing all these things as husband and wives do, shopping. We'll get to that one in a minute. And they are having a good time. Yeah,
but she says, you know, when she talked to Olivia, you know, I got the little butterflies. I feel the butterflies when it comes to my husband, you know. She says, I see why we're matched. You know, I get more hyped around my friends. He's like hyped 24/7.
24/7.
But she said she likes it. She likes it. Let's see. The one thing she said about falling in love with him is she's kind of holding herself back because she's like, you know, I've been there before.
She's been hurt.
And I felt like, it almost felt like she was saying, when I said I was in love with somebody, when I felt that way, it seemed like it went downhill.
Now, I get mixed up. She's the one that had the married husband. The guy that was married.
The married boyfriend.
The married boyfriend, yes.
Yes.
So she probably told the dude, I love him. And he was like, oh, I'm married. And so she had put time and invested in all the energy into this relationship. And then come and find out the guy she was messing with was married. She doesn't want to get... And I mean, nobody wants to be hurt twice.
Right. And I understand that. So she, you know, she wants to take her time, but I think Woody's making her feel real comfortable. And so after that, what she wants to do is like be nice and kind to her husband. He took her for a mani-pedi. And so what she does is, I'm fixing dinner for my husband. You know, something out of the ordinary. I'm doing a nice romantic special dinner. I want to make sure it's special.
Yeah.
And so when he comes through the door, she already got the food fixed. She got it sitting out. He was like, "Oh,
what's up?
You cook?
You cook."
Oh.
And a man after my own heart.
He said, "I didn't expect this. So I'm surprised. Like, not that you don't cook, but I just didn't expect to come through the door and get a meal."
No, I didn't notice this. Check this out. Woody drops his bags off. He said, you know what? He don't even put them in the bed. I'm going to wash my hands right now. And I'm ready to throw down and eat. Man after my own heart. How you doing? Hey, you cook dinner good. Let me go wash my hands real quick and let's eat some dinner. Yeah, he didn't have to do anything extra but to sit there and eat. That's what I'm talking about, Woody. Man after my own heart. Had the food on the table and go eat.
Yeah, it was so sweet. Just that whole little interaction. And she said, "I thought maybe you would like some salmon with salmon pasta, so I made you salmon pasta." And they sitting there talking. They doing their Amani and Woody little flirty thing. And she says, "Yeah, I got my leggings on with the holes in it." He was like, "You trying to tip my flesh? You trying to tip my flesh? Go on, girl, trying to tip my flesh." And so she says, "I think even if I had a burqa on."
A burqa, not a burger. A burqa, alright?
A burqa.
Alright, and for those of you who don't know what a burqa is.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that though. And so she said, "I think if I had a burqa on, it would be tempting for you."
What
he was like,
mayonnaise?
"Man," he said, "Man, yeah, with the you had the burger on. Yeah, I had a mayonnaise,
ketchup, the bacon, the tomato." And she's like looking at him like, "What?"
She said, "No, a burqa." He said, "A burqa? What's that?"
What's that?
So
Middle Eastern garment.
Middle Eastern women attire. So we talk about from head to toe type cover thing. She saying, "It don't matter what I have on, you would like it."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, girl, I thought you said a burger."
Amani couldn't even get herself together.
I couldn't either.
If you really go back and watch it, the production person who's asking Amani the question couldn't get themselves together because they was laughing at Woody so bad.
But they was laughing I think they were laughing at her laughing.
Yes.
Like
it was funny because he obviously didn't hear her, and he just going into this burger.
Plus he didn't know what a burger was.
She's like, what with a burger? How can you
so he heard her, but he thought she said burger because he didn't know what burger was. So obviously she had to say burger. If you was dressed like a burger, girl, I eat you up.
But you know what? That's what I like about it because regardless of what she has on and regardless of what she look, he still loves his wife.
As long as she ain't bald headed.
As long as she ain't bald headed. Man, that's my heart. Regardless of what you have on and whatever you look like, I still love you.
So we're gonna go to Karen and
you just gonna ignore me, huh? You gonna ignore me, huh? Just gonna ignore me. See how she do me each and every week, y'all? Each and every week. She knows. See, she like to play.
No, he's telling the truth, though. He's telling the truth. Even when I be in my communion attire at church.
Oh, we ain't gonna do that. We're not gonna do that.
But anyway, alright, so last but not least, we got Karen and Miles. Oh, Karen and Miles.
We start out with Miles doing the manly thing, and
yeah, boy,
her car was broke down,
having
issues, and she couldn't get it started. And Miles goes down there, says instead of her daddy, this is what her daddy normally do for her. I'm gonna take care of the car. I'm gonna hook her up and take care of the car. Now I understand how this is because there's somebody that I know. Her daddy used to take care of her car, and when we got married. We had that well, not married. Sorry, this person. We had that conversation. I want you to take care of the car. I understand that. Hey, I'm not even mad at Miles at all for helping take care of the car. That's what you do. That's what your woman like and what she used to. You try to continue to maintain that. That's what I do, y'all.
So yeah, Miles took care of Karen's car, and then also he said he got the jump on Amani.
Yeah.
And apart, I'm sure they didn't even talk about discuss it, but he gets his friend that's a chef, John, to come over.
Yeah.
And they're gonna cook a meal. And he wants to do something special.
Yeah, he said he can cook, but he just can't cook like that.
Right. Yeah, not like Karen be showing out because she made him that meal
at midnight.
Big old meal in the middle of the night. So yeah, he takes it upon himself to get the chef to come over, and show them how to cook this nice meal. Look like a seafood pasta.
Yeah. With some
mussels.
With some mussels, yeah.
Yeah, some mussels and shrimp and
Caesar salad.
Yeah, Caesar salad. She likes a lot of cheese. She gonna put all the shaved Parmesan on it.
And sauce, not dressing, sauce.
Oh yeah, and sauce.
Now
and sauce sauce in the salad. It's salad dressing.
It's salad dressing.
I never heard anybody call salad dressing sauce.
It's a down south thing. It's got to be a Louisiana thing.
I don't know. I've never heard salad dressing called sauce.
Never called sauce.
Except from a kid, like a little kid.
No, it's dressing.
Because they call everything sauce.
It's
ketchup and sauce. But anyway.
It's dressing.
Yeah, so she helped cook the meal too, because she's like, because he was cutting the garlic, he was scared.
He was scared. Don't
I know, he told me something. He's scared. His friend said, "You don't have control of the knife. You're about
to lose a finger."
Yeah, and then he's grating the Parmesan. He's like, turn the grater over. You wanted to get in there, but she said he got brownie points.
Got an A++.
A++. She thought it was. She said it was thoughtful. That he cooked the meal, but you could see, and she says it later. Still a little trepidation, like, how long we gonna be doing this? Is this you? Have you done this? How many other people have you done this with? Like, do you do this with everybody?
But again, it doesn't matter if he did it for everybody. He's doing it for you. Mm-hmm. And so you came into this leaving everybody else out. He's leaving everybody else out. We're doing it together. Just like when you come into a normal relationship, don't worry about if I did it with somebody else. Don't worry about if you did it with somebody else. We're doing it together. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not even going to share with you if I did it with somebody else. Because I'm going to make sure we do it if we're in a committed relationship, and we're going to try to do this together. So let's do this together as husband and wife. Let's make some memorable moments for us and not worry about the moments that I had with somebody else.
Right.
Right. And that's the biggest thing I think she has need to take away. It is her and Miles. Mm-hmm. It's not Miles is not her past boyfriend, and not the past other two relationships she's been in, and she's not Miles' last 10 girlfriends or whatever, 3 or 4 serious relationships he's been in. They're together.
Yeah. And so they get to the point where they have to answer their cards, their questions on the cards. How will you know that you're in love or falling in love? He asks her, she says, when I'm confident knowing that I can come to you with some things, that I can trust you, that I feel safe, and that we put in that time. And she basically said, Miles says, we haven't really had the deep conversations yet. Mm-hmm. Okay, what deep conversations do you want to have about intimacy?
Well, let's go back real quick.
Before that, because she says the deep conversation. No, before that, but the deep conversations that they want to have about what's your childhood like. Yeah. What did you go through? And Miles shares that, he had a happy enough childhood, but then his parents split up. They got divorced, and he went from one house to the other. Both of them were hurt, and he felt like it was his job to make them both feel okay. Mm-hmm. And he got kind of burnt out doing that. Yeah. And she says, that's my thing. I don't want you to get burnt out so busy trying to make sure I'm okay.
That you're not okay.
That you're not okay.
But that's what he is. Sometimes we are, as men, we are fixers. Again, we try to fix a situation, try to fix a problem. We want to fix it. We want people to be happy. We want people to be joyous. We want our relationships to be, I don't want to say perfect, but we want to have a happy ending. We want the wife to come home and be happy. We want to be able to have that moment of quiet time, no argument, no frustration, no issues. And I know that's a fairy tale sometimes, and that's the way Miles look. He wants things to go just right with this because he doesn't want to end up like his parents. Right. And so he doesn't want to end up like his parents. He's going to make sure that she's taken care of, even at the expense of him. So if she's happy, I know I'm not leaving. Mm-hmm. I'm not breaking this up. I'm not going to get a divorce because if she's happy, and his goal is to make sure that she's taken care of. And that's the way he's looking at this relationship.
Yeah. And so you were gonna say before they went grocery shopping.
And Miles didn't know what
he said he'd never seen an artichoke.
Never seen an artichoke in real life. In real life.
What does that mean?
In real life. He never seen an artichoke in real life.
I think you were saying that I never seen it already pulled apart. I mean, whole. I've seen it pulled apart. I've seen it spinach artichoke dip.
He may have never seen it in the grocery store. Maybe because she probably shopped at a different type of grocery store. He's like, dog, certain grocery stores, people, I'm not saying he from the hood. I don't know where he lived at. But when you go to certain grocery stores in certain neighborhoods, they don't have all the fruits and vegetables.
That's true.
They don't have all that. They don't have all the artichokes, the asparagus. They don't have that.
Yeah, they don't have the fancy vegetables.
They don't. Then when you go to a certain other neighborhood, they got all the vegetables and fruits and.
Or if you go to Whole Foods or whatever else, yeah.
Whatever you go to is totally different. So whatever she was shopping at, he might not have seen it.
Yeah.
So.
But one thing he has seen is onions. They're looking for onions. They're picking up groceries for a meal that she's gonna cook, and she said, what do you think about this onion? She says too big. He said, but it has plenty of layers.
Just like Karen.
And we parlay that into a conversation about your layers and how he's open about his feelings and how she's never seen that in a man. Yeah. And that's different for her. How are you so open about your feelings?
Because he's emotionally and intellectual.
That's what he says. And
you can be emotionally intellectual and still be masculine.
Yeah, because she's seeming to think that if I'm open with my feelings, that I'm not masculine, which is...
It's totally far from the truth. Because guess what? You want a man who's open with his feelings because guess what? He's not lingering. He's not upset. He's not mad. He's not hanging on to stuff. He's not feeling unwanted. What else a man can feel? Neglected. Mm-hmm. And so therefore he doesn't feel those things. He's sharing you with those things. You're less likely... When a man opens up and share those things with you, he's less likely to cheat on you. Because most men who don't share their emotions and feelings, they find somewhere else where they feel safe.
Yeah.
Where they feel comfortable, where they feel not being judged. And so if you got a guy who's sharing his emotions and feelings, and there's a border, it is a fine line between you're not his mother and you're not his mommy, but he's opening up with you, you know what, this is what I'm letting you know. I'm still masculine, I'm still going to take the lead, but just this is how I'm feeling right now. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes some women feel like men don't have feelings.
Yeah.
And men do have feelings. Our feelings get hurt. Our feelings get whatever the case may be. And I'm not just talking about in wife's relationships. I'm talking about on work. At work, men's feelings get hurt. With their friends, men's feelings get hurt. With their parents in relationships, feelings get hurt. So men do have issues where their feelings get hurt, and they want to be able to have someone they can talk to and confide in, and not being judged about their masculinity. Just because I'm feeling hurt today and I feel like shedding a tear.
Yeah, and I like that Pastor Cal. He has a little blurb there that he says, Karen's kind of coming to this with some preconceived notions, and she's got to get into this experience and know that it's different, get out of her usual pattern. That's why a lot of people go to Married at First Sight, to do something different. And so you're going to have to get away from, let go of your preconceived notions of what you think a man is and who, because that's how you felt, and that's probably what you went after, and it didn't work out for you.
Not even necessarily what she went after. I guarantee that's what she saw at home. I guarantee you her dad is and nothing wrong with it, he's the manly man, where there's nothing affects, quote unquote, that nothing affects him. That he doesn't cry, he doesn't show emotion. You looking at me like that?
Looking at you like what? I'm looking at you talk.
Like, yeah, that's you right now.
I know I'm looking. Okay, you said it, not me, but I was looking at you talk.
That doesn't affect him, so... But and that's where she's getting that from, and that's where she looks at, and that's her preconceived notion, because that's her reality. Mm-hmm. And I do have emotions, I do show my feelings.
I didn't say anything. I was just looking at you talk. But anyway, so they get home from the grocery store, and Miles says they went on a date. She was like, "It's grocery shopping. It's not a date. We needed some things for the household. You're part of the household. It's not a date." And he was like, well, it was a date, though, because, I drove the car. I opened the door for you. I let you out. I paid for it. I came in the house. I put stuff in what, you know what I'm saying? He said it was a date. He said it was a date. And she was like, no, that's not a date.
Is grocery shopping a date? I say yes.
When you have kids and a life, and that's one of the things y'all do together, it can be a date.
And it can be an experience. I enjoy grocery shopping with you.
Sometimes.
I've gotten better.
You have gotten better.
Just don't like going out every hour.
He likes and Aldi don't have that many aisles, so you really like going to Aldi. But anyway, and so he says, he wants to talk about intimacy, and she doesn't want to really talk about it. She don't really want to get into it. He was like, but I want to know about you. What is intimacy to you? What are your needs? What are your physical needs? And she was like, I don't really talk about that. I don't sit and have a conversation and talk about that kind of stuff.
Again, goes back to the relationship she's been, because he came to her like a grown man.
Mm-hmm.
It may not have been the timing, maybe just a little bit off, but he came to her like a grown man. They're putting away groceries. He's sitting there talking. Let's talk about intimacy. let's have a conversation. Now, they already had talked about love and all this stuff. So let's talk about intimacy. What she could have said was, Miles, we can have that conversation, but let's finish eating dinner. Let's put the clothes. Let's do whatever we're gonna do. We can talk about that later.
But
I mean, I'm just saying.
She didn't want to.
She didn't want to talk. She didn't want to talk about it at all because you saw she went into the refrigerator. He said, every time we bring this up, you get quiet. Mm-hmm. Again, she got quiet.
Yeah, but her excuse or her reason was, I think we should talk about it when we're actually going through it. He was like, what do you mean? When we're actually going through it? So we're not at the point where we can talk about, like, we're married. You know, we're going to get to the intimacy. You want to talk about that when it happens? How you going to happen? Or it just happens organically. You'll know when the time is right. No.
When you're 13 or 14-year-old, you're still talking about intimacy. I mean, think about it. When you was that 13, 14, 15-year-old kid or the girl guy, and you started getting on the phone and you start talking to the significant other, your friend that you liked, you guys talked about intimacy. That sex conversation came up.
Yeah.
Whether y'all were going to do it or not, or whether you liked it or not, whether you saw a movie with it on, whether you saw this, that conversation comes up. So for her to say, come on. You don't have an intimate conversation with somebody about sex.
Yeah.
This is not your first rodeo. Come on.
Yeah, but she says, we'll talk about it when we're going through it. He was like, well, okay, wait, when are we going through it? She was like, I mean, it's not like I'm saying, we're going to plan for it and put it on the calendar, and on March the 26th at 9 o'clock we're going. He was like, nah, wait, nope, not doing that. And so, we had this debate. Okay, so everybody got married around Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
This is almost 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
And so that's like the beginning of March, and we heard her. She said March 26th. He was like, nah, that's too far. That's too far. And I think that's what sent him over the edge. He was like, nah, well, I'm gonna put it on the calendar right here. Sex with my spouse. And she said, you put what on the calendar? I'm putting sex with my spouse. She said, why don't you put Miles give himself a hand job?
Yeah.
What?
That's inappropriate. That was
She said it was inappropriate for him to put sex with my spouse on the calendar. But you gonna tell him put Miles gives himself a hand job on the calendar? Girl, bye.
Now, mind you, we watched Unfiltered before we watched the episode. So if you watched Unfiltered, you saw Miles say that he was in a relationship for 2 years and not have sex with a female.
Absolutely, that's what he said.
And that's what he said. So now, what makes him pressure? I don't want to use the word pressure. So adamant about having sex with Karen that he already been in a relationship for 2 years that he didn't have sex.
Well, I don't think it's that he's so adamant, but I think it's the opposite. Like, I'm not going to have somebody, because what he said on Unfiltered was, we waited for 2 years to have sex and we never had it before we broke up. So he said, I waited 2 years and I still didn't get none. So I guess his thing is, I don't want to, like, we've seen some other couples on Married at First Sight, like, they were never intimate.
No.
And I'm not saying that's what it was, but it didn't work out. They didn't stay together. There was even one couple, I forgot who we said it was, I forgot their names, but they weren't intimate up through the decision day, and through the reunion they decided to stay together, and even after they stayed together, they still never went there.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, no. And I don't think he was rushing her. He was just like, I like you that much that I don't want to wait no long time.
I don't think he's forcing her. I think he just wants to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And we see from the preview, she called it childish. She feel like she was
disrespected.
Disrespected in her own house. And she did say ours, so that means she's still in that mindset of us. In her own house, disrespected. And I mean, I can't negate her feelings. She felt like she was disrespected. I just been interested to see the other guys that she messed with before Miles, and were they such as nice about the intimacy and the sexuality and all that with her?
Doubt it.
Or is it that it's something against Miles? I'm just interested to see. I mean, we probably never know, but that's what I'm curious about. I think a lot of Karen's issues is because of her past hurt. And she don't want to go, and it's fine if you don't want to get there and be hurt. Like, you know what, this is the 8-week thing, and if we have sex, it's gonna complicate things, and I don't think we're gonna be together after 8 weeks. That I can understand that, but you're not saying that. You just saying you giving him some kind of cockamamie story, and it's not reality. You make it up in your head as you go along. Give the truth, and that's what I just feel like she's giving the cockamamie story. Now I still think they would end up together. I think they can work past this.
Yeah.
and then get past the situation.
But she gonna have to break them walls all the way down.
Yeah, the walls.
Man, this Humpty Dumpty's Great Wall. This the Great Wall of China that she got up. I mean, they came through the Berlin Wall. Hopefully, Miles can get through Karen's walls, because I think they'd be a really good couple. But she
likes him. She really likes him.
It's not acting like you don't, Karen. You like him.
She's fighting.
It's okay to like him.
She's fighting the feelings.
It's okay to like him.
She's self-sabotage. She's sabotaging. And it's like she feels, and we will wrap this thing up, she feels like maybe it's too good to be true that I actually have somebody who likes me, and she has this person in this head that the daddy syndrome again, that he wants to be, I want him to be like my daddy.
What? And then her and Amani have the same thing, but Karen's more extreme. They have this, they're drawing, pulling back, because what if it's too good to be true?
Too good to be true.
And Amani's doing a better job of saying, I'm gonna go with this moment. Mm-hmm. And I know what happened before. I got a little trepidation, but I can get past it. Karen she's struggling.
She's struggling.
Don't mess up a good thing, girlfriend. I told you, don't do it. Don't do it. I will drag you.
Nah, you ain't dragging nobody. Hey.
Not literally, I'm saying on here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just like I had to do Keith that time.
Yeah.
Woo! Don't do it, Karen. Do right by Miles. He's a good guy.
We'll see. We'll see how that pans out. But if you enjoyed the review, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell. Make sure you hit that bell notification. We know we had a long one. But make sure you hit the bell notification and the subscribe button. Make sure you check out our description for Audible and the link for Audible in the description if you enjoy reading books or listening to audiobooks as well. Make sure you check that out. Also, make sure you check out our Couple Cam review. Man, it's been a good one. Long show. A lot to digest today.
It was.
A lot to digest. I Married at First Sight. Really enjoying this season and can't wait till next week.
And so we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye. We're getting ready to go grocery shopping.
No, we're not. Bye.